I will signal boost a couple of things. There's just Netflix things. This is our next segment that we'll bring on our guest. This is Dan Harmon's life now is sitting in bed watching Netflix. From the womb to the tomb. All right, well, you got to watch the Bravo Dirty John adaptation. Even if you heard the podcast, it's crazy. The Bravo Dirty John thing.
Oh, man.
Everybody see that?
Did you check it out? You watched it?
Yeah.
How long is that? What's the episodes? What happens?
You can kill it in like 8 hours or something.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, the podcast was nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, you could go from the podcast to it's not like unenjoyable to watch the adaptation. It's somewhat more enjoyable because the thing is, having listened to the podcast, then you know that the young ladies, all the actors are killing it, but the young ladies who are playing the daughters, you know from listening to their interviews in the podcast that they're not doing caricatures of like. It's a really interesting thing. These daughters, I won't spoil the story of Dirty John, but these daughters are just like so. If you wrote characters like this in your sitcom or your movie, they would be so. You would by default you'd be like, oh, and they're bad people just because of the trappings of them. They're just like these kind of like they judge their mom's relationships and police them and all these things because the mom's been divorced 4 times and they're just sort of like it's like, hey, I got you a chai tea latte. Oh my God, was he here again? And it's just sort of like they're fully committed to these characters, but they're great actors playing these characters. Plus, those daughters, emerge as heroes, which is all I can really say about the story without spoiling it. But it's just interesting as a writer exercise when you're like, yeah, there's characters with depth that you're supposed to like, and then there's characters that are like so fun because they're two-dimensional, but only in a real-life adaptation of something is a writer forced to take people that actually sound and seem two-dimensional and walk them through this story where they're heroos, and it's stranger than fiction kind of thing. It's just watch it. You're gonna like it. I mean, watch it for 30 seconds. You'll watch it for 40. I mean, that's the Harmon guarantee on Dirty John. Likewise, the documentary 3 Identical Strangers. Check that out. I think everybody's talking about that. The Abducted in Plain Sight. Whoo, doggy. Boy, at what price Mormonism? Check that one out. Just I don't even know.
That's what I've been saying.
It's just that after the Elizabeth
I have a
Smart thing, like I was saying,
on Blogspot.
I listened to the Elizabeth Smart book on tape, and I was so it's this weird double-edged sword because like the only way she survived that ordeal was through her faith. Like, I mean, she's such a resilient person, and I genuinely admire whenever in real life you hear stories about that involve Mormonism. It's like you come up against this, like you're like, geez, you guys really believe in God. Like that's crazy how much you believe in God. Like, and it really gets them through shit, and it makes them friendly and like forgiving. Like the forgiveness, like the weaponized forgiveness, like it's crazy. Like they're able to forgive the fuck out of things. And I mean, it's truly inspirational to anybody who's like a mainstream, just run-of-the-mill, podunk, fucking blue pill Christian.
Yeah, the
you got to take that. What color pill would be Mormonism? You got to take that
wood pill.
Daffodil pill. Anyways, but watch it. So this documentary, the Abducted in Plain Sight. It's another tale of child exploitation and abduction and stuff like that. But it is like only within a Mormon community does it seem that this stuff is possible. It's just crazy. Watch it and then we'll talk about it. I'll give you a week. But while we were watching it, Cody and I were talking about here's like a little Mormon thing. Are you?
Should there be theme music for this? Or?
When the Mormons, when they go to their Mormon college and stuff, and they're like regular biological horny teenagers, but they're Mormon, like they have developed these any religion, if you're committing to it and you're a teenager, there's going to be these things are going to develop. This is not about judging anybody for their faith. Or saying like, oh, those people are crazy. Any place where if you got to believe in God and you're living in America, some shit's gonna be nuts as a byproduct. So this is not about punching down. He proclaimed. But it's just weird. This shit that like, so there's this thing called soaking.
Woo!
It's like kids. So we've heard with like Catholic kids, if you're like really Catholic. You hear these stories where like, oh, well, I'm still a virgin if we do it in the butt, that kind of thing. So now that I've said that, and, I'm not judging like Mormons, but there's this thing called soaking where they're like, so the kids get themselves convinced like that, well, if you just put it in and you don't move it, then you're not. That's not sex. Everybody knows sex is like back and forth. So if you just marinate it. You're not. No, God doesn't see that. He doesn't hear that cricket leg.
Yeah, it's like in a quiet place. If you don't move the dick.
Yeah.
I used to be Mormon, and when I was a kid, I was.
Of course.
I was
soaking all the time.
I was soaking to the east. I was soaking to the west. I was soaking with the Mormon that I loved the best.
But this is the thing. That's the thing I believe. This is the part where Cody and I were like, that can't be real. And then we looked it up, and who knows if you look something up, whether it's real or not. But along with soaking comes the concept of jumpers.
Uh-oh.
Jumpers are friends whose aid you solicit. If the soaking, as I imagine it would, starts to become unsatisfying.
Oh.
And you can have your friends come over and
jump you,
and they stand on the mattress and kind of
they're jumping. They're
so
jumping.
Now you're soaking. This is just soaking turbulence.
That's just science.
That's all it is.
And the worst thing that can happen is that you could become Supreme Court Justice. Hashtag Kavanaugh.
I mean, don't all paths lead to Rome? And can't you, at that point, if you're soaking and jumping and you're still getting into heaven, can't you just go all the way with it and like call the sperm that comes out in the event of an over jump soak? Like, just say that sperm doesn't count because the tadpoles are Lutheran or something like. Just have the baby and like raise it like as and say like, well, you were conceived as a jumper baby, but you can do whatever you want, and if you should know we love you because we're Mormon.
You can have caffeine.
You can have caffeine. You can watch Raggedy Ann and Andy's Christmas special at school. I don't know if Mormons had to. Do they? Is that like Jehovah's Witnesses? Like the Jehovah's Witnesses always had to leave the room when we were in grade school. They had to when we would sing Christmas carols and watch Christmas shows, like when we were kids, and Christmas would come around, and then the Jehovah's Witnesses would have to go out in the hallway.
They would have to, or they chose to.
Well, it's not like the teacher was like, "Oh, here's our Christ Frosty meets Christ special." Hey, Carl, get the. No, they'd raise their hand and maybe if the teacher was new, they'd explain. But over the years, it was like, yeah, get out of here, spoil sport, go run the halls.
Yeah, hey, we're gonna force people to watch stupid shit. Go do what you want.
Jehovah's Witnesses also incredible. My memory of all of those kids, like 4 or 5 of them in my public school, incredibly friendly, like just non-judgmental, like it's weird, this double-edged sword of like when these religions that kind of they got a bit of a Steve Jobs approach as far as accessibility to their children's souls. Like, it's like, no, we don't want any of your viruses ideologically or anything, so we'll just be behind these walls and we'll kind of curate the American experience for these folks. We're not going to take part in your general pastiche. Like it produces. It's like you get your good results and you get your swarm of 19-year-olds who are like on the internet going, let's compare notes about being a Jehovah's Witness, and it starts to get pretty That religion's got PR problems.
Have I told you, Dan, on the show before about my friend, a Mormon friend from high school, who, like the nicest family? They'd throw these great parties, and like they're like probably one of the wealthiest families at our school, and they would throw these giant parties. And my friend Roy was like the coolest dude and got along with everybody. And it's like that family made such a case for being Mormon because they were so like awesome. They were just like the most generous, lovely people. Have I told you the story about the church sign? You know, like those little billboards that put out like little things that say like, "Hey, this Sunday," or you know, like Jesus loves you, like, and the little like placards out in front of the thing. Roy was the nicest straight A student, the most meek and mild, lovely dude. He called like me, I think Matt Gorley, a few other people, and said, "Get up and drive around town and look at these 5 churches." And they had all put up this. I forget which denomination it is. But they'd all put up this thing that says, "God cares." And lovely, meek, never heard it fly, like straight A student Roy went out and changed all of them to dog races.
He just couldn't resist. He worships a higher power called wordplay.
But for 3 hours, you could drive around Whittier, California, and it was just dog races.
When he dies, he goes to heaven, and Gabriel just stone-faced points over to this like dog track where he has to spend eternity.
Yes.
It's like, you're not going to hell, but you have to like. I hope you have allergies. Why are all these dogs? These are all the dogs. These races are going to go on forever. Yeah, you have to race every single one of them. By the way, they age 7 times faster than a person, so. You're never getting in.
Damn.
You're not getting into heaven. I'm going to restart this. I'm workshopping.
Right, okay.
You're not getting into heaven until you've raced every dog.
Wait, he has to race the dogs himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each dog needs to be individually raced.
But him versus the dog or other dogs racing each other?
Yeah, they all have to be raced versus another dog.
I think it's better if he has to race every dog. Because
you have to race each dog.
Because all dogs go to heaven,
right.
And he has to race every one of them. It's like Tantalus or Sisyphus or something.
What about Cujo? Do you think he went to heaven? He was terrifying.
It wasn't his fault. It wasn't Cujo's fault.
Well, do you think? Well, is it Jeffrey Dahmer's fault? What are we saying?
Yes, it was Jeffrey Dahmer's fault.
What's the difference
Cujo
between
didn't
Cujo
put
and
people
Dahmer?
in refrigerators and fucking fuck them and shit.
Obviously, people don't do that unless they're fucked up. Cujo is a fucked up dog. Dahmer's a fucked up guy. Like, what do we?
Dan,
I don't understand.
All dogs go to heaven. Cujo is up in heaven going, "Look, everybody, I'm sorry. I had a bad run."
Cujo killed people. Probably a mailman, I assume. I've never seen the movie, but I assume the first to go is a mailman.
He killed 14 frisbees. God knows how many tennis balls.
If you are a Christian mailman killed by Cujo,
right.
You go to heaven.
Yes.
And you're like, and they're checking the book, and they're like, "Oh, the mailman's here. Ooh, it looks like you steamed open a couple of clearinghouse sweepstakes things." Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see what they looked like on the inside because my wife won't let me open them. It's not like I thought I was going to steal somebody's winnings. You can't lie up here. We can read your mind. I accept that. Thank you. And they're like, they're murmuring, and he's like, "Fuck, God damn it. I'm so fucked." And then you just hear like, "Roof, roof, roof, roof." And you look through the pearly gates, and fucking Cujo's running around, fetching a ball for Tom Hanks's dad. Right. I was just trying to think of someone who's guaranteed heaven.
Wouldn't you, as that mailman, go, "Oh, wow, if Cujo's in here, then I'm good to go"?
No, you're in line getting your balls busted by the Velvet Roper. And and it's like Cujo's, you're like, "What, is that Cujo?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, and you're pointing at the gaping fucking bite wound on your neck.
Right.
And Gabriel's like, all dogs go to heaven.
I'm sure Cujo...
Is there a comment box?
I'm sure Cujo, when he went up to the pearly gates, he got his balls busted too. And they're like, who's a bad boy? Who's been a bad boy?
Well, and then Cujo's going to be like, "Fuck you, I'll pee on you because all dogs go to heaven. I already heard." Like you need to, like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You either, it's pick a lane, heaven.
If I go to heaven and I see a happy Cujo who has atoned, for his Cujo sins, I'd be like, oh, this is a good heaven.
I don't think all dogs go to heaven. I think they picked that as a title for a movie that they wanted to trick you into watching. I don't think that's an official biblical stance. I think dogs cannot accept Christ as their savior. If it's hard for a rich man to get into heaven through the eye of a needle or whatever it is, like what is it? A camel? A camel can't get through a needle, but a camel can get through the eye of a needle faster than a rich man can get into heaven.
Yeah.
Well, so that poor camel, was the camel going to heaven?
No, the camel's going through a needle.
So the camel doesn't get into heaven at all. He
The
just gets
camel-
put through a needle.
No, that's not on the table
camels
for the
go to
camel.
heaven, but they're just using camels as a metaphor.
Right, camels don't sin, as we all know.
What about camels that refuse to go through the needle?
I think when the Bible was written, that was the biggest animal they could think of. They didn't know about elephants.
Oh,
or
yeah.
shit.
Well,
Like
it was the humpiest animal.
Yeah,
They probably saw
Right.
elephants, but they're like, they're like, let's be clever about this because a camel is like so humpy that even if you made it a big needle, it would still be like. It'd still be an arduous process to get it through. It'd be like putting a key on a keychain. That's what they just didn't have keychains. They're like it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is to put a key on a new keychain.
Yeah, it's harder for a rich man to get
If you
into
don't have
heaven
fingernails.
than to put your USB into any USB port.
Yeah, you have a better chance of getting into heaven as a rich man than you do of guessing right when you plug in a USB.
This is the King Harmon edition of the Bible.
All right, well let's discuss it all with our old friend Open Mike Eagle.
Oh yeah!
Hello.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I think all dogs go to dog heaven.
Oh, it's like a shitty heaven.
Well, if you're a dog, it's the best heaven, because it's just dogs.
Well, because they don't have anything to compare it to.
True.
Do you think it's they achieve heaven fatigue 7 times faster?
I never heard of heaven fatigue before.
I guess that's just something most of us assume. It's like an eternity of anything. How many millennia does it take for you to be like, oh, I wish I could die?
Maybe there's a reset button.
Oh, and you could just forget who you are?
You can forget. Yes, you can have coming to heaven all over again anytime you want it.
Well, that starts to remove all meaning from any of it, right? Like, it's like, because I bet you would do that. You would like achieve I guess that gets very Eastern because it's basically like you achieve, this kind of ultimate perfection and you'd go, well, then let me experience, and you'd go back down and be like a termite or something.
No, don't go back. No, I just mean start heaven over.
Right.
Not start life over, because that would be terrible.
Do you think? Okay, look, I want to talk about dog
Oh,
heaven.
like resetting a game.
Yeah, but it's just heaven again.
Heaven plus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting reincarnated on Earth if you could prestige all the time. I don't like this idea, like prestiging in video games. Send me back, but give me a rocket launcher, for the whole thing.
Life New Game Plus.
Like you're born,
Right.
you're born with
Heaven
a rocket
plus.
launcher, so they're like weighing you, and you're like, fuck you.
You keep all your experience points from your last
Yeah,
life.
you can now just like water ski without learning. This baby's great at water skiing. Why? Don't ask questions.
It has a rocket launcher. Yeah.
Why does your baby have a rocket launcher?
I do think we'll experience life where babies can have skills. It's going to be scary, but I think with genetic engineering, that's something we're going to have to contend with.
I'm kind of.
Whoa. Skill babies.
Skill babies.
That's crazy. I buy it.
See?
Holy shit.
There's going to be skill babies, but they're going to be like the Army Reserves where the parents will have a right. They'll go like, getting pregnant will cost so much money. They'll come to you and go like, so you want to procreate? You want to breathe some of this fucking air? Which, by the way, on the Dow Jones is now like more than diamonds.
Sure.
I don't think diamonds are on the Dow Jones, but they're like, so you're gonna bring a fucking rando into this planet where we're like fighting over molecules. What's in it for society? And you're gonna be like, well, Julie is very good at painting, and I created community. What happened to Cody? Who's this Julie? That was a weird juggle of real life, and then you made it you.
That's honest, though. That's honest.
That was Duncan Trussell and I were talking about that, where it'll be like if you can like basically sell the first 20 years of your unborn kid's life to various corporations, sort of like a fusion of the Israeli army and like internships and like so that they go like, we're gonna give your kid extra charisma if they work for Apple for 2 years. Oof. When they from 15 to 17, and then the army goes like, we'll make him jump high if he does it with a gun on his head for 2 more years than that. And you'll be
I think
like, okay.
the thing with the babies get skills come way before that.
Baby skills. We're just
Let's
gonna
hope.
Yeah,
Is there a list of baby skills, or are the baby skills like are they assigned at birth, or is it just random? You get. To
I think
pick?
you get to pick. I think that's the whole sales
I
pitch.
hope.
Is you get to pick what skills your baby
But
has.
wouldn't every couple pick like flight or invisibility? Like,
Well, I don't think they're supernatural skills. I think
okay.
there's skills you could already have as an adult, but your baby could have. them.
yeah. My baby speaks 4 languages.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the kind of baby skills that
That's
I
a
can really
baby
see
skill.
happening in the marketplace.
Right.
But that's dystopic, right? As soon as we open up that jar, we're in trouble, right?
True. The jar's kind of open though. They make goats like every day. They make like new goats in a lab every day. They're doing that already.
They finally did some human cloning in China, I think, recently, which is a benchmark I've always been watching because I always wanted to be the first person to do a human clone. Like, I'm not a scientist or anything. I just wanted to.
Like accidentally?
Well, no, on purpose. I always wanted to clone myself and just be like, hey, I did it, guys. I'm the clone guy. I'm the guy who cloned humans successfully. Haha. You know?
Like an instant clone, or would you just be like 60 and there would be like a 30-year-old Spencer
Probably that, yeah.
coming out of a petri dish?
Nah, I'd give it a couple of years and be like, check out this baby. That's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
And your baby's gonna have the unreliable narrator skill.
That would be nice.
I don't want to pick baby skills.
I don't want to either, but somebody will.
Yeah, it's going to happen no matter what. It's inevitable. I'm distracted by the thing that you brought up though, like this idea of like being in heaven and then there's this button and you go, this idea of like getting to a point where you're like, I've done it all for real. Like there's nothing I can experience anymore. And then there's this button that says start it over.
Let me be honest here. This was inspired. I just started watching The Good Place, and I just got through the first season. So like that kind of happened in there a little bit, like kind of, and you know. So,
but it's interesting because it's like a sci-fi or even a sitcom-y like way into like thinking about like, oh, well, what if the God that made the universe is just like kind of. Yeah, he's like, I mean, what's the difference, right? It's like you just doing this weird thing where you're like, well, it's not going to be fun if I remember anything, and then you're like,
well, you're going to learn everything, right? Because it's heaven, and it'll be great. Like if you're going to get fatigued, heaven fatigue. You taught me that. Heaven fatigue. So yeah, that's the cure to heaven fatigue is you push the reset button.
yeah.
Then you're not tired anymore because you forgot you were tired.
But in dog heaven, you're saying that dogs, it's just dogs, right?
It's just dogs. They don't have any buttons.
But who's going to throw the ball or you know do the thing?
The ball gets thrown.
The ball they don't care who throws the dog. It could be another giant dog throwing the ball. They don't care.
God throws the ball.
They don't like us. We think they do. They don't like us. They think we're dogs.
Yeah, they think we're like bears. I think.
Yeah,
I think
that
dogs think
makes sense.
we're bears.
They think we're bears.
And I think dogs think that we're bears that think they're bears.
Right. And they think they're the lucky dog who the bears think they're a bear too.
But that's why dogs all get along essentially. Like some of them are like, fuck you, but I think they're like, don't tell them we're dogs.
Right. That's it. You're letting on.
Yeah. But most of them, like when they're sniffing each other's butts, that's them going like, do they think you're a bear? Yeah, of course they do. Otherwise they'd be eating us.
And they're like, this is what bears do, right? They sniff each other's butts. And it's just a show.
Because that's the thing in the wild that like looks the most like in a dog's, you know, it's like they were big hairy or like weird things that go rah rah and like walk around on hind legs. And like if you fuck with our babies, we'll kill you.
Right.
And we're like always like gobbling salmon out of a stream.
Yeah, if bears started feeding dogs first, we wouldn't even have dogs. Bears would have dogs.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if we wait, I missed the top of that. If we weren't around, bears would have dogs.
No, if bears started feeding dogs first, let's say
yeah.
bears started sharing the salmon with dogs, we wouldn't even have dogs.
Let's say you're walking your dog who thinks you're a bear that didn't eat you because it thought that you thought it was a bear too. Let's say you're walking through Yosemite National Park and a bear goes by. And like
with your dog, you're with your dog in Yosemite, and a bear comes by.
Yeah, and the dog would be like, "Hey, like fucking, let's hang out with that guy."
Well, that's why in bear attacks, the dog never protects the person. They're like, "Shit, bear war." There's only one loser here.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing the marshmallows and I'm out of here.
This is when my 4 legs come in handy. I could leg it out of here.
I just became an outdoors dog. Commence world's longest walk.
Right.
Well,
okay, another scenario. You're walking your dog. Dan, you're out in Yosemite National Park, and you're walking Harvey around, your golden doodle, and you see a wolf.
Yeah.
And like, what does Harvey think about?
I don't know. I mean, you're poking holes in my theory. What about coyotes? I mean, what are they saying? I got coyotes right behind my back wall right now. They're just like right there. I still haven't seen one. My dog sitter saw one when we were out of town. And
they cross my street all the time in a pack, and they come down 2 different streets because they're surrounding.
They're like the Sharks and the Jets. They're gonna have a rumble.
Yeah,
Coyote rumble.
You're never alone. You're never disconnected.
But it's so cramped, so
Because
fascinating.
here's the thing. In my neighborhood, some of the coyotes are Puerto Ricans, and some are just
Some coyotes
white
are
guys
Puerto
from New
Ricans?
York. Yeah.
I guess that's true. Like genetically and geographically.
I'm doing West
Some
Side Story
coyotes are
jokes.
Puerto
Oh, I
It's a
see.
musical.
Right.
Yeah. Sondheim, remember? Okay.
That was
Yeah, no,
fun.
but they hunt in packs, and they all come down this one street, down from the convent that I think Katy Perry bought, and they come down this one road, and then they all split up, and they all just fan out like the Blue Angels, and then 10 minutes later, you hear the sound of an animal dying.
Yeah.
And then you hear a bunch of people screaming, and then I open my window and look out, and you see people just throwing shit at these coyotes who were running off with their animal.
Yeah.
This you can track it like this every time.
Huh?
You
Every
can track
time.
it like this.
I've seen it happen. Like where I live, Paul Rust and Leslie Arfin, the great TV show creators, their cat got ate, and their dog was traumatized by it and never got over it because the dog was giant.
The dog's like, you can eat the cat? I sat here for 11 years taking this thing's shit.
why can't I eat the cat? It's nothing but the dog in me. But their cat got eaten like next door to me, and the sound of it, and then the wailing of the dog going. I'm helpless
I feel
against
like
a pack of coyotes.
if you keep seeing this happen, where there's this dog procession and then some animal gets murdered, you should warn people.
No, everybody
buy a
warns
beach
each other.
I see coyotes all the time come down my street, and I'll pick up like a rock and throw it at them. And they're like, get the fuck out of here! But all they do is just fan out,
Yeah.
and you just see them like a black ops unit,
Well,
like going through backyards and fucking like
You know what their
SEAL Team
technique
6.
is I don't. What I want to know is like, what is a dog hearing when they hear a coyote? But you see the dogs go crazy when they hear like this. It's like the coyotes start like doing this thing, but their typical technique is they'll send one stray coyote, like it'll start doing this thing like. And like the dogs are like,
Mike, do you have sample technology in here? Can we loop his coyote or no?
but apparently, like
they
they goad dogs into an interaction with like one. It's like just pretty standard raptor, clever girl technique.
Right.
They purposely like. I think that's the fanning out thing. Is that they basically like they do these little trollings, and then any dog that like takes the bait and kind of like is like, what the fuck is there? Like crazy dog over there that I could fucking talk to about just being disguised as a bear, and then they just fucking run up and grab that poor little fucker. There's a dementia-addled, half-blind like French bulldog that lives up above my wall where I just hear these coyotes now, and I'm like, I got a broomstick, and I'm like, get out of here, coyotes. I'm gonna buy like long flannel underwear with a butt flap just to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a cowboy hat with the brim up and a get out, you varmints.
You should buy a couple Roadrunners.
That attracts them.
No, but
They self-destruct.
But then you can sell faulty products to the Coyotes.
Yeah. Well, if I start
Monetize it.
just
Yeah,
like
you can sell
leave
roller
catalogs
skates and
laying
dynamite,
around like magnetic boxing glove. They're like, I'm making money hand over fist.
I like once every couple years have a standoff with a family of skunks that just decide that they live
For charity. This is a charity thing. It's
Where do you live?
Las Vegas on stage. He has the worst Vegas stage show.
Also, I can make a tiger disappear. No, but sometimes just skunks, the whole family, like mama, papa, and the little babies, and they're adorable. They're so cute, and they'll just be on my front door, and I just go it's like late at night. I just got home, and I'm looking at it. Okay, there's a bunch of skunks just hanging out there, and they see you, and what they don't do is run off like other animals, like squirrels and cats.
No,
and things
yeah,
like
they
that. They just look at you and like, what up?
They're like,
And I'm like and then if you get close and try to shoo them, the adults put their tails up in the air.
yeah.
Which means
And they're like, it actually hurts to walk around with this shit. Like, give me a reason. Yeah. It's burning my tail. I think it stinks too. Look at me sideways. Just infringe upon my ancient pact with the druids that founded Las Feliz. They have like a millennia old pagan ceasefire.
I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I have a chip on my butt that I can't wait to fucking fire at you.
Oh, did you ever see like in the nature document where they show like a skunk in high speed, super slow mo, like a skunk spraying? It's so gross.
Super
It's
disgusting.
like snot like coming out. It's like it's just like it doesn't like stinky spray or like Fred Flintstone vapor. It's like grody, nasty, fucking Peter North gross.
We're pretty fortunate that only one animal got that as a defense mechanism.
Oh my god, yeah, like it is crazy. Like there's only like a handful of ways to protect yourself. Like,
There could be birds that projectile shit at you.
I got pooped in the mouth.
all right, moving on.
I was walking down the road, fucking midday, downtown Los Angeles. Gonna go get my car. Everything was groovy, and I see a flight of little birds, like small little sparrow, swallow-sized birds, little birds. And I see a little hoplite of fucking birds coming at me, and they're gonna go up into a tree. And I see one bird, and I don't want to dramatize this, but I'm pretty sure this bird made eye contact with me. Like from the distance that Spencer is from me, but about 10 feet higher, and came down with the rest of the birds, broke fucking ranks, like feathered off of that one, and fucking pooped like about 5 feet in the air. And it went right in my mouth.
Like it judged the fucking trajectory like an 83 in television game.
No. It was like fucking Iron Eagle. He just fired a missile of little baby bird poop. Because it wasn't like a big like seagull turd, It wasn't like a big giant thing. But it was just, I just went, the bird flew at me and just dropped one about 4 feet away. But because of inertia, that the poop leaving the bird is going to carry the same speed for the first few feet.
Right.
It
landed right in my bottom lip. I think my mouth was closed, but it went, ugh. It went right there. I'm like, what the fuck? And that bird knew exactly what was happening.
What is it with birds? Shit, like it's it's really gross. It would be one thing if it was like either like turds, like hamster turds, like or just glops of white goo.
You know what's weird
It's
about
both.
it?
That's so gross.
And the other supernatural properties of bird poop, it's like it's black
by the way-
on white stuff and it's white on black stuff. with the same bird butt. That doesn't even make sense.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because
Like
the color.
enlarged like pigeon poop. I may be wrong about this because my avian knowledge is not where it ought to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like a reverse chameleon. Like they've adapted. Like just let everyone know where our shit is. Like,
They've mastered
the
contrast.
The brown part is the feces, and the white part, or the lighter color stuff, is the urine.
oh,
So that bird probably peed in my mouth.
birds, you're gross.
You're on notice.
If there are any birds that listen to the podcast, okay, your bones are hollow, so it's not impressive that you can fly.
Dan, we have it.
I could fly too if I had hollow bones, and I don't
Yeah.
want them. I don't care. I can get on a plane. I don't want to do that either. I hate planes.
You're offending Open Mike Eagle, right?
No,
shit, I'm sorry.
No, it's just a name. I have no emotional connection to it at all. At all. I do want to remind everyone that this whole moment was started with you saying, I got pooped in the mouth.
But he was all
got
enthusiastic
pooped in the
about it.
mouth.
Like,
Yeah.
I got pooped in the mouth.
No,
He sounded
my enthusiasm. Don't mistake my enthusiasm for outrage, Dan. The bird intentionally. The birds were going off to my left, and one broke ranks and fired a poop in my mouth, or maybe pee. I don't know, but all I know is it's good luck.
When did this happen?
Huh?
When did this happen?
This happened with Church. Are you still here? Or she fucked off. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Is this the first you're telling other people of this?
I told her. I said I just got pooped in the mouth.
Is it fair to blame this on the government shutdown?
No.
Like that wouldn't happen if there was 800,000
Yeah.
people
The
getting paid
FAA.
to work.
They regulate this stuff.
Okay, maybe it was longer. I feel like it was pre-shutdown.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
Look, the timeline's not important. What matters is that I got pooped in the mouth.
Birds are savage
when
creatures.
my brother got married, we had a bachelor party in Balboa, like Newport Beach, California, and we all went out the next morning to have a Bloody Mary at this cool old dive bar in Balboa, and we're hanging out, and my brother's friend Bren. Is a college buddy. He's the most mellow surfer dude. He's like Matthew McConaughey. He's like, yeah, man, it's like everything's cool. Like he's just one of those guys. He's just super laid back. And he goes out to have a cigarette and comes back in. I've never seen him look worried or bummed out. And he comes back in and he just like walking as fast as you can walk without running into the bathroom. And then he comes back in and he sits down next to me and he picks up his Bloody Mary and he's all like, oh, fuck. I'm like, Brent, what happened? And he goes, sorry, I'm going to try to say this without laughing. He said, bird pulled a deuce on my bean. A bird pulled a deuce on my bean. That's the way, if you're a surfer guy, you say a bird shit on my head.
Is he Australian?
No, I can't say a lot. Bird pulled a deuce on my bean.
Mate. Needs a mate after it.